You're watching Monday with the Mayor here on 18 WJTS, and today we are in Huntingburg with Mayor Denny Spinner.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Wonderful day.
So I understand you're having some problems with one of your construction zones, and you're having a new one coming up here soon.
Right. Well, there's a small problem that we're having on our 4th Street project. The project itself is moving along tremendously. The west side is now under construction, as most of our residents know. The east side is open for traffic, still a construction zone. But on the west side, the problem we seem to be having is it is clearly barricaded as a construction zone. But there are folks who are taking the liberty of moving the barricades and walking through. Now, there's a couple of things that are really troublesome about that. Number one is it is a construction zone. We have turned this project over to our contractor, who again is doing a tremendous job. But there are dangers associated with a construction zone that we want. The number one priority is safety, safety for the workers and safety for our citizens as well. I think our contractors have done a great job of keeping the word out of when the sidewalks are open and when things are clear. It's moving along, but we've had incidences of people just moving barricades and walking through. First of all, again, we don't want them to be harmed in any way, but also it could cause problems with the project itself. As concrete is being poured, as streets are being torn out, anything that could cause some damage to the project itself as it's progressing could slow the process down. We've asked for patience about direction. We got a lot of direction signs of how to get around the area, how to use back doors. Our merchants have done just an amazing job. I want to say this, amazing job of communicating with their customers when those situations are happening, how to access their buildings, and we just ask for the public to kind of take into consideration those barricades when they come into the area, because it's safety on both sides, for them and for those who are working on the project, and that's the last thing we want to have happen, is someone to be injured or have an accident that's involved in a construction zone. The city of Huntingburg has turned that project over to the contractor. It's their area, and we want our citizens to make sure that they're safe and respect the project and allow it to move safely. But I must say that the work has gone very, very well. I think you can see over the last week here on the east side, which is open, the light poles have been put back in place. We're expecting them to come back on. The electrical work is being done. By week's end, the new lights should be back in place. The bollards are going in at this time, so there's a lot of work that physically you can see happening in even the area that's open. On the other side, again, sidewalks are being poured. We should see some of the demolition of the existing street in this next week. So the progress is moving very, very well, and we just want to be as protective of that space as we can, and ask the citizens to be respectful of the barricades that are up. The second project that's going on right now, in fact started this morning, was 3rd Street. That's an area that I know we've had a lot of questions about. When are we going to fix 3rd? It's been kind of in a disrepair for several months in preparation for the project. But 3rd Street between Walnut and Chestnut is under construction as of this morning. That work should take about 60 days to complete. So between Chestnut and Walnut Street, 3rd Street is closed, and it's a total rebuild of that street. It was a former concrete street that had some damage to it. And so we're going in and doing a deep repair to make sure that it's a solid street for us. It's a very busy street in our residential area, and we want to make sure it's safe and well built when it comes back. So about 60 days. Again, no traffic, no parking on 3rd Street between Walnut and Chestnut Streets for the next 60 days.
And I understand you have quite a big weekend coming up.
Oh, well, it's always a big weekend for the Herbst Fest here in Huntingburg. We'll be starting on Thursday. Actually, events got started last night with the Queen and Junior Queen contest out at Southridge. So had a great night there. But the fun and the food and the activity down at the city park starts on Thursday, Thursday through Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Everything will be happening at the park and events all around town. I encourage you. I don't want to mention one or two events because there are so many. But the one thing that I do want to mention is a lot of the history of the Herbst Fest. Why this became a fest goes back to this is 40 some years ago. This is a way for our community, number one, to gather together as a community and just kind of have a nice weekend to see friends and neighbors and enjoy company with each other. But it's also one of the major fundraisers for all of our not-for-profits and our church and service organizations. The food booths that you see down at City Park during the Herbs Fest, each of those are operated by a not-for-profit, a church, a service organization, somebody who's doing something to support our community. And so the whole idea of that is that one time a year where you can go down and support them for what they do for us all during the year is a great opportunity. Plus, you get great food. I mean, I've always, the Herbs Fest is a lot of fun and a lot of activity. It's a food fest. You know from one night to another where you can go and get your favorite Herbs Fest food item. And again, I don't want to mention one in fear of not mentioning another, but there is so much great food at the Herbs Fest. So just come on down. Of course, a lot of activities, a lot of fun, a lot of games. Music, great music entertainment every night. Events in the stadium. Buy your button, get your Herbs Fest button so you can go in the stadium and support that. And one thing, it all ends with the parade on Sunday at 2 o'clock. And again, going back to the previous topic, we have some construction going on. Normally the parade starts at 4th and Van Buren and goes down our business district and then turns south on Geiger. Well, with the 4th Street construction going on right now, the parade will move one block to the south to 3rd Street. So the actual starting part of the parade will be at 3rd and Van Buren Street. So they'll start at 3rd and Van Buren. They'll go west on 3rd Street, cross the highway, Main Street at 3rd and Main, and then hit Geiger and turn south and follow the traditional route, which goes down Geiger to 1st Street and then on down to City Park. So it should be another great parade. Just a little adjustment for this year. I want to say, last thing I want to say about the Herbs Fest is I want to be very clear. I have nothing to do with the success of the Herbs Fest other than going and buying my food and my buttons and supporting it. We have a tremendous committee that works all year round on this. So any thanks that you have when the Herbs Fest is as successful as it always has been, make sure you found somebody with those Herbs Fest staff committee or committee shirts on and thank them. I'll take the thanks, but I want to pass it to them. They're the group that works so hard at this every year, year-round, a tremendous commitment to our community to bring this festival together. They deserve all your thanks and praise for the work that goes on and brings our community together to have a great weekend that we can all celebrate and remember. So thanks to the committee very much for your work in leading up to the event, and thank you for your hard work that's made this all possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.